Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. The vaccine rollout continues to affect global markets, and geopolitical fallout is also affecting global markets, but a bit differently. The global markets have pretty much priced in a lot of political events, but have yet to price in the complete vaccine rollout around the world. At least completed to a point where the virus is contained with something like herd immunity. On the industry side, BTC is trading in a range of 32K and ETH at about 1300, and the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P are all flat. Microsoft has a new vision language model that outranks humans in terms of image capturing. On the themes and events side, ByteDance competitor Kuaishou, and ByteDance is the owner of TikTok. Kuaishou is their competitor. They're planning on IPOing in what is considered the largest IPO ever at $5.4 billion. And the reason this is important for us is that you can build a thematic basket related to this. There are companies that will rise on the value of this IPO, the pricing of the IPO, in sympathy. Eureka Alert reports that chemotherapy with light is effective with only one injection required. Researchers in South Korea have developed a phototherapy technology that can significantly increase efficiency while reducing the pain of chemotherapy. And another event or theme, transneuronal delivery of hyperinterleukin 6 enables functional recovery of nerve regeneration. And that is a basket unto itself. There are companies related to nerve regeneration that I think Regeneron was one of them. There are companies that specialize in nerve regeneration that form a basket that can be traded based on that published paper. And then we've got GameStop. GME is their symbol. And this is a traditional market stock. Everybody's familiar with GameStop. We produced a thematic basket related to GameStop, and the returns, the components in the basket returned 18% after a few days and 33%. This is something to definitely keep an eye on, worth tracking over the course of the next few weeks as GameStop continues to squeeze shorts. On the internal corp side, we've got HR, legal, we've got the cap raise, and we've got revenue, all focused on, or all underneath the corporate strategy, or umbrella of corporate strategy at this point. On the E&G product, engineering, product, and operations side, we are still in the process of constructing our correlation matrix dataset, the master showcase dataset that includes the 500 pharmas by 500 pharmas plus 100 drug compounds. And as mentioned last week, we're continuing to bring in new data sources, QAing those, validating those, making sure that we have proper provenance on those, on the data sources, and the calculations, of course. CloudQuant is ready to receive that, so is S&P Global, and of course, new data's customers. So right now, we are, the ball's in our court in terms of engineering. And we have also talked about the chart flow visualization, and that's completed, but we're going to refine it a little bit, and we need a few more days for that. We've also talked about the NASDAQ Machine Intelligence Lab in the past, and the NASDAQ Machine Intelligence Lab is like a lot of data engineering organizations or groups within most companies. They're collecting data, and most of it has to do with time series data, And they're using this data to make predictions, make decisions, and also validate the decisions of other trades that have been made across the market to make sure they're above board. But the majority of what the NASDAQ Machine Intelligence Lab works on is extracting new insights from data sets, from new kinds of data sets. And providing value in that area is what we do. And as long as we provide value, we'll also be establishing a path to listing on a U.S. exchange. And our target is NASDAQ. On the sales and marketing side, that's ongoing. And on the IR, PR, and Marcom side, well, we're going to be rolling out S&P communications to the public. S&P will be rolling those out. So we're looking forward to that. We're also looking forward to communicating to the public through new data and through CloudQuant in terms of webinars and presentations. And that's to the majority of what would be institutions as the audience. On the exchanges side, that's also ongoing. And if you look at Kraken versus Coinbase versus NASDAQ and NYSE, if you look at which exchange you'd like to target today, it's not 2017 anymore, it's 2021. And U.S. exchanges like NASDAQ and NYSE are preparing to list cryptocurrency companies. We are going to be one of those. So we're grooming ourselves, like we've mentioned in the past, to do that. And one of these exchanges is more valuable than the other. Kraken versus Coinbase versus NASDAQ and NYSE. Sometimes it determines what your goal might be in terms of regulation or in terms of being classified as a particular kind of trading vehicle. For us, NASDAQ and NYSE would be a better target than Kraken or Coinbase. Of course, the objective is to service our customers, generate revenue and profit, and our customers, like S&P Global, need a place they can purchase VXV, that they can take positions in VXV as they engage in trial agreements with us. So having VXV on a highly liquid, highly regulated exchange is of utmost importance to us. Next, we've got questions from the trader base. The first question is it true that BlackRock will invest in this project? I have heard rumors about it. Can you tell me also about S&P Global? Any asset management company, BlackRock or any company that we service or talk to or is in trial with us, is a potential investor. That's the nature of the industry and the nature of the business that we are in. We are in the business of providing an edge to hedge funds and asset management companies, and it's in their best interest to invest in us. However, that doesn't mean that we are going to be announcing any particular company anytime soon in terms of their investment into VectorspaceAI. However, on the other side of this, any company that is engaged in a trial agreement with VectorspaceAI must take a position in VXV in order to access that tiered level of service, which enables them to trial the data sets. And the other part of this question was, can you tell me more also about S&P 500 Global? So it's S&P Global. S&P 500 is the index of 500 highly liquid stocks, and S&P Global is a separate group within that whole S&P family of companies. And in terms of S&P Global, S&P has another division, the marketplace division, market intelligence, and that's where our data sets will be showcased. We're working with them right now on the best way to do that. And that, of course, includes engineering and API integration stuff. The next question is, when will buyback happen? When will the buyback happen? How many tokens will be bought back? Well, just as any other public company with a public trading vehicle, you won't get an exact date. The next question is, what is the upcoming news for VectorspaceAI? Well, we will certainly announce upcoming news when it is news, and that's when we're ready to release it. Anything else would not be news, and we do not make announcements by announcements of announcements. In the latest call, you mentioned coin. Oh, one more thing: we also do not allow buying on the rumor and selling on the news. Not around here. In the latest call, the next question is, in the latest call you mentioned Coinbase. They seem to be pretty selective with their listings. Do you have any lawyers or external consultants who are developing VectorspaceAI in this regard? Yes, we do. It's very important to do your research on this company. We have an extensive background in the public markets, which includes law firms that are involved in enforcing SEC regulation. And we also have a lot of experience with listing any kind of publicly traded vehicle in the traditional markets or crypto. You can also review the channel for more answers related to that. You can do a search on the channel. The next question is, when will the buyback start? Has it already started? This is another similar question with the same answer. The next question is, are the VXV tokens on the team wallet locked on a smart contract? Do they have a release date? No, they are not locked on a smart contract. And the team has agreements, vesting agreements in place with VectorspaceAI in terms of how their tokens are to be unlocked. And we follow an industry standard vesting schedule. If you want to know what an industry standard vesting schedule is for a startup, you can look that up. And do they have a release date? So yeah, we don't have any tokens locked up in a smart contract here. And one of the reasons for that as well is that we avoid sell pressure this way. With any lockup, you have an expiration date. And on that expiration date, well, people look forward to that expiration date, and they look forward to selling. A lot of people do. So we've avoided that altogether, strategically. The next question is, please give us an update on new exchanges, if this hasn't been covered on the general discussions yet. Yeah, our advice is to follow our conference calls. We provide an update every week on the calls related to exchanges. The next question is, what is the appropriate timeline are you expecting for an announcement from S&P about VXV? Well, we're looking at several announcements. The first would be an announcement related, and this would be from S&P, an announcement related to our data sets being available and what they do, the value of those data sets, the uniqueness of those data sets, and the fact that you can't find them anywhere else. And we anticipate by the end of February, we'll have S&P talking to the world about VectorSpaceAI. And by the end of the first quarter, March 31st, by the end of Q1, we're looking at S&P fulfilling their obligation they announced to the public related to providing a list of cryptos, quoting a list of cryptos. Providing a list of cryptos just like they provide a list of 500 highly liquid stocks through S&P 500. And we're looking forward to being part of that on that list. And that's going to be pretty easy for us to do because we are, unlike most other cryptos, pretty much any other crypto that S&P is talking to, none of them are providing value like we are in terms of providing them with algorithmically generated data sets that cannot be found any other place and are unique and powerful and generate alpha money. That's why they're talking to us. So they're being very selective. The next question is, what's the specific purpose of the buybacks? Because it would mean VectorspaceAI will obtain more VXV tokens in their own hands than they already do. What does VectorspaceAI intend to do with it? The same thing that any traditional market public company would do with the buybacks they perform. When you acquire your publicly traded vehicle, when you move your float from the public market back into the company, that's a good thing for several different reasons. We know that buybacks are healthy in some respects for any publicly traded vehicle. We also know that we're interested in acquiring as much VXV as possible, just like anyone else. Why not? We're not in it to give you money. We are in it to make money for our stakeholders. The next question is, what is the current situation with VectorspaceAI market makers? I remember some time back a call being posted with Sobi, which was great, but I haven't heard from Sobi in a while in the Telegram group. Oh, so market making. Market making, we're pretty familiar with market makers. We were required to have 4 market makers when we were publicly traded a few years ago, and we know the value of market makers. We also know that the number one mandate for a market maker is to maintain an orderly market. And that's what we intend to do. In crypto, you are your own market maker. You can also hire market makers. You can also be your axe. You can be the axe. And if you don't know what an axe is, you can look it up. That means you are essentially taking the lead in establishing a market ahead of other market makers. So we know when to bring market makers on. We know the timing associated to that. We also know the regulation associated to having market makers related to your trading vehicle. And we want to abide by the spirit of SEC regulation and U.S. securities law, which means that the communication we maintain with our market makers needs to be limited. So for now, market making will definitely help close the spread, but right now we are after organic liquidity, and we will first allow for equilibrium to be established. This is through organic price discovery. So when that bid meets that ask, or that ask meets that bid, that's where you've got price discovery. And you've got to have some consistency in that range in order for there to be equilibrium of price discovery. When that happens, or after that happens, that's when a market maker can step in. Before that, you want an organic, natural market to be established so that a market maker knows where to step in. Right now, we don't need that. Next, we'll move to our strategy section. And there is a note here that I have related to market making and the axe. And being a security token versus a utility token. That also has to do with maintaining an orderly market and making sure that your market makers understand the difference. So we're going to be working closely with market makers on that. The next note that I have is that we do have a few people that have been distraught that they weren't able to position in VXV at certain price levels. And we not only do we not comment on our own price on our public forums, we don't engage in price discussions. We know that the value of our data sets correlates directly to the price of VXV. If speculation occurs and VXV as a utility token rises in value, and you haven't built a position in VXV to access datasets, you're going to have to buy VXV at a higher price. There's no two ways about it. So it's timing. This also has to do with a basic understanding of how an order book works. And what we've noticed, now we've spent quite a bit of time in the traditional markets over the years, and what we've noticed in the crypto markets is that there's been a learning curve in terms of how to execute trades, in terms of how to, or at least understanding the difference between a market order and a limit order. So when you set limit orders, you're going to miss trades. Trains will leave the station if you don't up your bid. This means if you do not cancel your order and move your bid up and keep moving it up until it gets filled. How often you move that bid up and the timing associated to it is a different story. That's up to your own risk tolerance. However, in a thinly traded market and with volume that's not as high as some of the top 10 cryptos or trading vehicles out there, you're going to want to set a limit order and then wait. It's a little bit like fishing. You just sit there, have some patience, take your ADD meds, and wait. And someone is usually likely to come down and hit that bid. That's how it works. Just because you don't see something on the book doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book. To be able to display maybe a sell of 100 shares, for example, in traditional markets of something. And for people to think, my goodness, there's only 100 shares available. Well, behind that 100 shares, there's sometimes millions. The same works on the bid side. Someone could be offering to buy something for 100 or buy 100 tokens. And in reality, it looks like you can only sell 100 tokens. That's not the case. If you put a sell order in, limit order, it's likely going to get hit as long as you move it around a little bit and have some patience. And then on another note, some have asked, why aren't we taking advantage of all this retail trading? You know, retail trading, I think there was a statistic that stated in 2019 there were 7 billion in trading volume, daily trading volume. And it's in 2020 it moved up to 10 billion, and now it's up to 14 billion in retail trading volume. And people are asking, why aren't we taking advantage of this? Well, we understand that the markets are frothy, they're a little toppy, and that we want to hedge a bit. And what that means for us is servicing the enterprise markets, which we've talked about quite a bit in the past. The enterprise market, enterprise customers will carry us through a downturn. Now, we'll also have a place for retail traders to go in any downturn in the market, as we offer short side thematic baskets. And that's how we hedge. And on a final note, we are slowly but surely assembling our Space Biosciences unit. We've been in talks with a few academics we've collaborated with in the past, and a few might be joining. And one of them includes Syra Mian, who has also specialized in drug discovery and drug repurposing, along with chromosomal radiation damage repair, DNA repair. So we look forward to working with Syra again, and we look forward to establishing our new Space Biosciences unit. and that means datasets. This has been a pre-recorded call. If you have any questions, feel free to post them online. Thanks for joining.